Outstanding and terrific.
but improving.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing terrific.
Hey,
Beautiful.
I like the glasses that match the.
I got my glasses, my pullover, and my mug that are all have some shades of blue,
This is amazing.
and my summer read. How's look at that?
What book is that?
This is a book called The Summer of '69 by Ellen Hildebrand. It's a library, a little summer read.
Nice, huh?
I have several book recommendations for our listeners and viewers today if they're interested in some summer reads.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So,
gorgeous weather in New England. My God, we've not had a holiday weekend with such good weather. I mean, it's nothing but sun from like last Thursday to next Wednesday. It's amazing.
so I hate to put a little pause on the thing, but I'm gonna have to do a little coffee break, if you know what I mean.
I understand. I do. I am drinking from an inappropriate mug, although I do like the color.
It's all right. Every mug,
That's all.
every mug deserves a break, you know.
Every mug deserves a coffee break.
That's right.
Bum. A little lower. How's that? A little reflection right there. You can't see that picture behind me. What's that? Oh, that's the window reflecting.
No, it's
I
good.
left the house this morning at 7 a.m. It was already 60 degrees and nothing but sun. It's going to get up to 80. And
Wow.
today is our first still face side yard gig of the year.
Is it really?
Oh,
Today?
today, Memorial Day weekend. So I figured that either people are hanging around and might like to come or they're out of town. But I thought we're going to do about once a month. So we thought we'd get the first one in. But it's gorgeous weather. So we did a bunch of shopping this morning. So we will set the band up and play some music and light a grill and people bring lawn chairs and whatever they want to drink. And we're going to have some fun.
So I was telling my friend Dagan, he's a young guy that sometimes does some work for us around the yard and stuff. And he says, "Hey, you guys went to pick him up, and we drove by that Oldsmar uh, friendly park. Something that has a shelf for bands to play. So we were playing there one time,
Nice. Like the band shell or the town common or something.
and it's right on the water, right on the bay. And
Nice.
the guy that had the sound board and stuff says, 'Hey, how's your singer? Is he cool?' I says, 'Oh yeah, he's awesome.' He says, I'm gonna go there and put a red dot on his microphone, and I'm gonna tell him something. Come in and listen to this." So I went over and he goes, "Hey, Mike, as you know, we're gonna have fireworks after you guys stop playing, and they're gonna be right behind you over the water." And he says, "This button on your microphone, when you're doing the last verse of the last song, press that button. It'll trigger the fireworks." Because there was nothing. It was just a piece of paper that was like a red dot that he put on there.
Oh my God, the pressure on the singer.
So he goes, "So we're getting ready to do the last song." I says, "Michael, remember, we have to remember to do that, push that button to set the fireworks off. We've never played with fireworks behind us. So this is kind of cool." He goes, "I got it, man. Don't worry." So
I
we,
got it.
so then we go, we get to the last verse, and he's pushing the button, but nothing's happening. So he looks at me and says, "Come on, hit it." All of a sudden, the fireworks goes off like crazy behind us.
And
It
he
was,
goes, oh, thank God I got it right.
it was so amazing, though. But we laughed about that for a long time after that because he had no idea that.
He had no idea.
So funny.
That is awesome. Wow. That's funny.
Wow.
So I don't follow a lot of basketball, but a lot of people I know do, including my son. Celtics were down 3-0 last week against the Miami Heat. There's only been one team that I know in the history of sports that's been up 3-0 and lost four in a row, and that would be the New York Yankees,
Yeah, against who?
who collapsed against the Red Sox. And
I
so,
remember that. Yeah.
so the Celtics have gone on to one win because it was do or die. Miami's up 3-0. They win one more game, it's done. Celtics win one. Celtics win two. Celtics win last night with a buzzer beater at the end, like 104, 103.
Wow.
Now the series is 3-3, and they're coming back to Boston to play in the Garden tomorrow, game 7. Wow. So maybe Miami Heat will join the New York Yankees as the biggest chokers of all time.
So here's a
See,
dilemma for me.
I sound like a Celtics fan as I'm talking about it, don't I? But
Yeah. I think I told you about this one time when I went to try to get a part-time job at the horse track.
At the horse track.
Yeah, I wanted to see if I could get a job part-time as a jockey.
Oh, sure.
So they took one good look at me and said, "I'm sorry, sir, you don't qualify." I said, "Why not?" They said, "You're too tall." So I'm too tall to be a jockey, but I'm not tall enough to do basketball. So it's kind of, I'm like in the middle somewhere.
Stuck in the middle. Stuck in the middle with you.
But I gotta try this applause thing, see if it works better today.
That sounds like a
Oh,
flaw.
come on, guys, knock it off. Come on, please, stop, stop.
Think about it.
You're embarrassing me right now. Stop, please. Oh boy.
Oh, that's exciting in the world of the Celtics.
So Memorial Day,
Oh,
I had one time one little thing in my life with Nuno that wasn't not too positive. He did a post or something about
you're so delicate. I love it. It wasn't positive.
he posted something about Happy Memorial Day or something. But it wasn't Memorial Day, it was Veterans Day.
Oh,
So I said, hey, I got caught on that one time. I did a text message. My son was in the military, and I told him one time, Happy Memorial Day, and he said, Dad, I didn't die. I'm a veteran. So I was explaining that to Nuno, but he says, oh, even if they died in the war, they're still veterans, or something like that. I said, wow. Anyway, he thought I was trying to fix him, but I wasn't trying to fix him. So that was the last time I tried to fix him.
yeah. That's funny. I was sitting in a sales meeting on Friday morning, and I have this sales manager named Chris who is awesome, and he's just unbelievable what his guy's been able to do, and his with us and this company and this relatability factor. And right in the middle of the meeting, he kind of, we were shifting to the next whatever, and he says, I think it's important, guys, it would take some time this weekend, give us just a few minutes just to kind of get a little quiet and reflect and think about what this holiday is really all about.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so it really, I don't know, it just kind of touched me. And I'm like, man, that's really, he goes, amongst all the burgers and hot dogs and the beer and the parties, remember what this is for. So it just, I don't know, I hung on to that. This was Friday morning. Saturday morning, I had a quick appointment. I was down in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And I was going to be there for a short time. And I didn't really have anything else I had to get done the rest of at least next few hours. And, walking is my thing. I love to walk. So I remember this walk I took down there in East Providence. You can park and walk along this rail trail, I guess. But it's like this 6-foot wide asphalt path, lots of bikes. And I thought, I'm just going to put my earbuds in with my podcasts and go and work my way back. So I had this really long walk. I felt great. It was gorgeous out. It was like almost 80 and sunny, but you're on the water, so there's a breeze the whole way. And the views were spectacular. I mean, little houses on islands and right along the water. And I got back to the car, and I was also really working. I had this thing called Map My Walk, and it times all your miles. And I'd set a goal the day before with a friend of mine who was one of my accountability partners in terms of how fast I can get these walks done. So I hit the goal. I felt great. And I go, let me just go find a Cumbies for a cup of coffee for the way back. Everything's going good. And I stumble literally across this park that said Flag Park or something like this. And it was a whole... there were 5 American flags on post with a little area and a big plaque for each of our armed services. And I'm like, I stumbled across this. And so I parked and I walked around the park and I ended up at this little bench and I sat down and it was literally 24 hours before Chris was talking about, find a place just to kind of reflect for a few minutes and give thanks and just understand what this is. And here I am sitting in this place and I took a picture of it. And I sent it to him and I'm like, I really appreciate your words yesterday. And I literally stumbled, by chance, who knows, I'll say chance, probably not by chance, but by design, just not mine, across this park. And I sat there for 10 minutes and it was amazing. It was a very powerful part of my day yesterday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good job, Mike. Good job.
So, then I actually took that picture. I don't do much of this at all, as you know, and I posted it on Facebook. And I said, hey, take a few minutes to remember what this is all about. I got to go back and check that and see who's commented. Or whatever.
So you went for a walk. So I used to walk, but a long time ago I bought a car.
That's a good move. That reminds me of my old, sports. And, speaking of sports, I did some boxing for a while, but I had to quit because of my hands.
What happened?
The ref kept stepping on them.
Ouch. So,
what? You're such a good straight man. What happened?
So I know I told you this before, but this morning it happened again. I walked around the block 5 times.
Good for
And
you.
then Terry came into the bedroom and said, "Hey, put that block back in the closet to help me make a bed." Boom.
Boom. So what's up for your long weekend? Out in New England, it's always, kickoff of summer, and in Florida, it's
Yeah.
kind of like is this like the kickoff of like things are getting too hot to do anything outside? Is this a celebratory outdoor weekend or
No, there's all kinds of stuff going on, live music and stuff. So there's a band that's playing here in my town, Stormbringer.
Stormbringer?
I think they're a local band, but they're killer, man. They're awesome.
Stormbringer?
Yeah.
I've heard of them. How's that? Maybe you told me about them because if they're just local to you, I wouldn't have heard of them unless you brought it up. But it's a cool name.
I might be confused whether or not they're local or not. I know the band and I love them. So, who knows?
What kind of music do they do?
Kind of music that we like.
All right,
You
say
know,
no more.
classic rock kind of stuff. I was telling this guy that Dagan, I was talking about that we played at that place one time. Did I just tell you about this about the microphone?
Yes,
Oh, okay. So I already
with the
told
fireworks.
you.
I got to tell that story today. That's hysterical.
It was funny as heck.
So did I tell you about the country duo? I guess it's a trio since I'm playing with this duo. I make three.
Yeah.
This country trio, the Nate Ramos band. This guy's going to do something. He's 25. He's got just this music coming out of him. So we played that night. I told you about that. 400 people. I've never played in front of that many people. It was so fun. And in the same room, it's a great room. He got the warm up slot. There's an up and coming country guy named Travis Denning. And I've been listening to some of his stuff. So he's playing this room. So he's the guy coming in from Nashville with the motor coach. He's up and coming. And somehow Nate got the warm up slot. And so Nate does his own originals. And he's going to play 9 of them, 9 or 10, and do a 45-minute set from 7 to 7:45 before this guy takes the stage with his full band, Travis Denning. So a couple weeks ago, he was going to do it acoustically just by himself. He asked AJ and I to be his band, which is the same trio we played in that room.
Yeah.
And we're like, absolutely. So we've been getting together to rehearse his originals now because we'll play 9 or 10 of them that night. This is coming up in a few weeks, Friday the 16th, June 16th, in the same room. But we're going to go from playing that stage for like 5 hours to 45 minutes. But I'm really psyched because I'm looking forward to meeting this guy, Travis Denny, and hearing his stuff. And I actually researched his. We're learning. It's funny. We're building these songs because it's almost like it's his original acoustics. He's never had a band to it. So we're arranging these songs for the first time to be a full band. And then I thought, let me learn all of Travis's songs because just in case his drummer sprains his wrist that day, I'm ready to roll. So I was actually researching his current tour and seeing their set list and checking out all those tunes. So that'll be fun. We're looking forward to that. So I'm rehearsing with 2 bands now. Today's obviously it's still Face on the Side Yard, and site for we have a VIP seating section set aside today for the side yard gig. Very few people get into that VIP section, as you know.
Oh yeah, you have the passes though, right?
Yeah, but I'll be behind the drums. I won't even be in the VIP section.
So the guys in still face they're okay with you playing with another band like that?
Oh, they love it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
told them what was up right from the start because it was supposed to be a one night thing only. It was going to be over by now. But I'll tell you, there's such an appetite for this country music right now that we're playing the Big E out in Springfield, and he's trying to put together a brewery tour in like September, October, and play a bunch of breweries in this area and do like a tour and have them help promote it. And Interesting. They're having fun.
That's awesome.
Nice diversion. Nice diversion.
It's the version, yeah.
I just found out of a new. I'm coming to Orlando for a meeting in June, 2 weeks, June 10th. I'm gonna be there for the morning, but I'm literally flying in and I'm staying one night, and I love flying out of Worcester because it's 8 minutes from my house, JetBlue, but you got to connect through JFK, which is fine. I'll do anything to avoid Boston. Although and Hartford's only an hour from me. I just heard about an airline that flies out of Hartford direct to a couple spots in Florida called Breeze Airlines.
Hmm.
I got to look into that and do a little research because I wouldn't mind driving to Hartford, which is an hour to fly direct. So I also don't mind connecting through JFK either. I'm literally flying down Friday, coming back Saturday.
Yeah.
So, but
I told you, I know I told you about the JetBlue thing with my pride and joy in the plane.
I don't know if I. Wait a minute. Which one was this? You better tell me again.
Well, we were waiting to board the plane, and they announced that the plane is totally full. You know, so if anybody has overhead luggage that they want us to put through the regular luggage thing, we won't charge you because there might not be enough room for everybody to put the thing in.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I volunteered mine. They put a thing on it, took it. Because of that, they moved me up in the queue for boarding. So the first class went in and whatever. And then after that, I was like the first one going in. After that. So there were two stewardesses that were like blocking the aisle, and they're looking back at the plane. So I tapped one of the stewardesses and said, "Hey, how about letting the passengers through, huh?" And I had that shirt that
How'd she respond to that?
well, I have this shirt that I had you've seen it before that says "Be phenomenal or be forgotten." Remember that shirt?
Mm-hmm.
So she looked at the shirt, "Be phenomenal, be phenomenal, be forgotten." What does that mean? I says, "If you're phenomenal, people remember you. If you're not, they forget you." She goes, "Oh yeah, what makes you so phenomenal?" I says, "Well, I make people laugh every day." She goes, "Oh yeah, to make us laugh." I says, "Well, I'll make you laugh, but before I do that, I got to show you a picture of my pride and joy." And of course, I showed the picture of my pride and joy.
Yeah.
They both started laughing, right?
And you said, "I'm done. My work here is done."
So then, here's what gets interesting. On the way down on a flight, just we were still over Georgia, and a guy had a problem with a heart attack or something. And there happened to be a doctor on the flight, so they let him on the aisle, and he's trying to fix him. And then they announced that they're going to go to Jacksonville, Jacksonville, to get this gentleman to the hospital.
Right.
Right. So then we land, and they came to get him in the stretcher or whatever. But you can't just take off if when you do that, because now they have to make sure you have enough fuel. They got to get you in the queue because there's all kinds of planes that. So we're probably sitting there for about I don't know, an hour and a half waiting to get back on the air. And you're sitting there, the jets were off and stuff, so you had AC and stuff. So over the speakerphone thing, the steward says, "Will the passenger that carries a picture of his pride and joy in his wallet, push the attendant?"
This did not happen.
This is a true story. Terry was with me; she can verify. But anyway, I hit
way.
I hit the button, right? So the stewardess comes up and says, "Hey, there's a guy 4 or 5 rows behind you that thinks he's really, really funny, but he's not funny at all, and he's really frustrating me. Can I show a picture of your pride and joy?" I says, "Oh, sure." So I give her my wallet, and now she goes over and she shows it to him. Because it was so close to us, we could hear people in the row that he was in. They were all laughing. So she comes over and gives me my wallet back. She says, "Thank you. I really needed that." I says, "So what's the deal with that?" She goes, "Well, So anyway, now the people next to me were saying, "What was that about?" So I had to show them the pride and joy. So everybody
Yeah, that's strange too. You're giving your wallet to the flight attendant. What's that all going on, right?
Yeah, with money on it and everything. There was like money there and stuff. I don't know. I just trusted it. But anyway, it was so funny.
So that must have been weird too. Here's this emergency medical landing to get this guy to a hospital.
Yeah.
So they land, but everybody stays in their seats. And of course, then you got some paramedics who come onto the plane with a stretcher.
Yeah.
And they take him out. Was he able to walk out, or did they have the stretcher? Because there's not a lot of room in that aisle for a stretcher. How'd they do that?
I don't know if I don't know if it was a stretcher, was if they put him on a
Oh, like a thin wheelchair.
wheelchair or something. Yeah, I know they took him out.
He was conscious and okay.
Because I hope that it looked like he was doing better. The doctor was even saying, "Looks like he's okay." The doctor that was on.
All right, let's take off again then. And so
Yeah.
you just stayed in the plane and then you taxied back and got in the line and took off again?
Yeah. I
That's
always have all
cool.
these strange stories that I tell that some of them sound like they can't be real, but I'm always in a mix of something. I don't know how it happens. I don't know.
Hmm. I've been listening to a couple of new podcasts. I'm always trying to find new stuff because I spend so much time on the road. And one of them I've been listening to is called Black Box Down, and it's all about the history of different plane crashes and why the plane crashed.
Wow.
And a lot of people who know that I'm taking flight lessons to become a pilot can't believe that I listen to this stuff. There's another TV show that's often on the Weather Channel called Why Planes Crash. I just find it fascinating. And for me, it's part of being a better pilot because if it's in your control, then you should know about it. I mean, 99% of airplane crashes are pilot error. And so for me, I think it's just more knowledge and makes you a better pilot. But I find them fascinating. I don't find it, horrifying at all.
I think it was when we were in the business back in the 80s or something. There was a guy that was talking about a lot of the small planes that crash. People that are doctors or something that think they're so good and they don't even really learn how to do stuff, and they.
Oh, well, it could be. I mean,
Uh,
as I like to say, ego is not your amigo. And if your ego is so big and not willing to learn, you need to learn to become as good a pilot as you can, you get in trouble. That's not good.
did I share this video with you? That there's a guy that was taking flight lessons, and he asked one of his friends, "Hey, you want to go with me? I'm going to do a flight lesson. You want to go with me? You can sit in the back." So he goes, "All right." So they get in the plane, and this guy had 5 hidden cameras in the plane, right? He already had his license. He already finished it off, but his friend didn't know that. He says, "Yeah, so we just have to wait for the instructor to come out." They're sitting there talking to the plane and stuff, and he says, "Man, this guy's taking all kinds." He says, "I don't know. If he doesn't come out, I'm just going to take him on my own."
I think I can do this.
Yeah, so his friend is like nervous, like heck, right? So he starts taking off, going to the thing, and he takes off. And the other guy's like, "Oh my God," like, you can see he's like scared, right? So then he's doing some maneuvers up there and stuff. He says, so far it's been good, but the tough part is landing the thing. This is the tough part. You got to hang on. He was coming in for a flight. I mean, for the landing, and his friend was like ready to pass out. He was so scared, right? So when they landed, he says, "Hey, listen, I got to tell you something. I already have my license. I've gone through all the lessons. I'm just messing with you." He goes, "Oh man, what the heck's the matter?" He says, "I just put five cameras on the plane here just to mess with you." It's so funny. If you ever watch that video, it's so
I
funny.
did. You shared them. I did see it. It was outstanding. And
Yeah,
the takeaway for me was just how much trust that this guy had in his friend who was going to fly this plane. He didn't know if he could or not. I'm like,
yeah,
talk about trust. That
yeah,
was that was funny.
yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness, crazy,
So what time is your
crazy,
gig?
crazy. Hmm?
What time is your gig?
3 o'clock.
Yeah,
I got some,
I'm not gonna make it.
I didn't think so. 9:25. I got some stuff I got to do outside. I got to get the yard ready.
Sure.
So that little patio that we set up on is full of stuff because I have like this construction project going. So I keep talking about this porch on my house. Well, the porch that's not at my house yet, but it's coming. So we got the engineer hired and done. Plans are done. Now the permit's been pulled. We're going to pour a concrete porch, L-shaped farmer's porch. And so he just dropped off some materials the other day to start to build the frame. Takes a few weeks to get the permit. It'll be done in 2 days. He's going to do 2 separate pours, but meanwhile, it looks like a wreck because the roof line is held up with those stilts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I had this sidewalk that went around the side yard, and it was, I don't know how old the sidewalk was, but it was old and broken. And I'm like, I don't even like this sidewalk. So I chopped it all up, heavy stuff, and just threw it into near the foundation of the house because the thing's going to be 6 feet, 5.5 feet off the house, this porch. So all the concrete and all the sidewalk went in there, and it's going to be filled with stone and covered with concrete anyway. So
Yeah.
It looks a mess, but it's all gonna be covered with concrete shortly. So I would think middle of June, June 15th, a couple of weeks on the permit. So
Yeah, so
that's exciting. We're getting there.
we've been doing some work on the house a little bit. So there's we hired this company, a husband and wife team, really cool people, awesome. And the two guys that came in to do the tile, because by the outside the front door, like a step there, so they were doing tile, and we wanted to do some tile on that. But I'm talking to them, and I could tell that they had a real strong accent. They didn't speak English that well, but I picked up on the accent, just like your guitar player.
Yeah.
I could tell those guys are Brazilian.
Oh,
Of course, Brazilian people speak Portuguese. So
so do people from the Azores,
right,
and Portugal for that matter.
and actually, so they're talking, they're trying to come up with the English words that they want to say. So I said to them in Portuguese, I said, "Hey, in this house, we don't speak English, we speak Portuguese." And they just
Did you
they were so happy. They're like, "What?"
did you say it in English or Portuguese?
In Portuguese. That's what what messed them up, because I said that in Portuguese. I said, "Hey, in this house, we don't speak English, we speak Portuguese." I said in Portuguese.
So how do you say that in Portuguese? Let me hear that.
Nesta casa não se fala inglês, aqui fala-se português. That's not even funny, but
I for some reason I found it funny, as you can tell. You just did that for me because I was laughing. I just love hearing different languages. It's so fun.
Yeah.
So they lit up. They're like, "You're our favorite people, our favorite customers."
So one of my things when people talk about languages, I say, "Listen, I actually speak 4 languages. I speak English, Portuguese, Spanish, and profanity."
Profanity.
And then when they laugh at Sharkido, I says, "Yo, what? You want me to fucking prove it?" It's so funny. The reaction is amazing.
Kind of like this.
One time a guy said to me, "Man, I don't know how anybody could learn another language." I said, "Well, it's not a big deal." He says, "Well, how would you know?" I says, "Well, because I speak 4 languages." I said, "I came to America, I spoke Portuguese, didn't speak words of English, and then I learned it. Then I learned Spanish in school a little bit, and I managed a Mexican restaurant in Phoenix, and pretty much all the cooks and stuff were all Mexican. They didn't speak English, so I learned with them, and I speak slightly English, Portuguese, Spanish, and profanity." And when
I thought you're going to say, then I worked in a Mexican restaurant and learned profanity.
oh no.
That thing is, then I became a truck driver and I learned profanity. That's probably the funnier line. What's the occupation, right? Truck driving, construction. Then I became a construction worker and learned profanity.
Yeah, that reminds me of when Jim Picard was talking to my dad and my uncle.
I was just going to say that. What are you doing? Everything? Because I said, I know some words here, but they're all curse words. Oh, he didn't even know, did he?
He says, "Yeah." I said, "You're speaking Portuguese, but all you're doing is swearing." He goes, "What?"
He didn't know? Oh, he must have been horrified.
No, because he was he lived in Rhode Island, and he used to go to all these like deliveries into those plants that have a lot of Portuguese people working there.
So, yeah.
And then the guys would call him all these stupid names, like, and he didn't know. He just thought it was a word,
Of course, you could say him here because most of our audience, well, that's not true. Half our audience wouldn't recognize it.
Yeah.
So Jim was bilingual in profanity then.
Yeah, that guy was awesome, man. I love him.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
You got people who, I haven't talked to him in decades, but you have people who come through your life for a certain amount of time. In that case, that was a handful of years. And they just have an effect on you. You just enjoy being around them and you never forget them and you reminisce about those times. And it's wonderful. I used to feel bad about people who kind of come in and out of my life until I thought about, I just got great memories, and anybody who's like, he wouldn't want me feeling bad about the fact we're not in touch. Hope he feels the same thing about me. He was a great one.
Yeah, and people come into your life sometimes for a day or two, or a week or two, or 2 months or whatever. Then people can come in and it's part of your life forever.
Yeah.
And
there's a really nice saying about that, in for a season or something like that. It's good stuff.
like you came into my life, unfortunately, forever.
Forever.
I can't get rid of you.
So I was trying to remember this before, and I just got it. So I'm going to change the subject and go back to the plane thing because it was funny. I saw one of these memes on Facebook, like those, and there was a customer, a guy, and he's looking up to the stewardess, and he says, "How often do planes crash?" And she says, "Just once."
So years ago, when I was selling real estate, I had this guy that was from Hong Kong that was a mortgage broker. Real nice guy.
The mortgages broker. We have to mention Cross Country Mortgage, our sponsor today. But continue.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
He says to me, "Hey, you want to go? I'm going to go to Jacksonville. You want to go?" I says, "What are you going to do to Jacksonville?" He says, "I'm just going to take a flight." I says, "You going to take a flight just to go to Jacksonville?" I says, "Yeah, I have a pilot's license. I have a plane." I said, "Oh."
Okay.
But this is back then when I was working. I'd been working before that at
Oh, that yeah. You're telling me that one.
what the heck is the name of the magazine?
Oh, the one you were selling advertising in?
Yeah, the people that do Auto Trader is Aero
Auto
Trader.
Trader, yeah.
Aero Trader was the airplane.
Oh,
So I used to sell advertising to people in the aviation thing, the planes and stuff.
Cool.
People wanted to sell planes or whatever. They put them on there as like Auto Trader.
So this guy says, "I'm a pilot. I'm going to fly us up to Jacksonville."
So I says, "Are you VFR or IFR?" I already knew two terms,
Good
Says,
question.
Huh?
Good question.
Yeah, so he said he's VFR, which means he's flies but with visual. I says, "Well, what happens?" He says, "Well, I just
Which is great if you could see everything.
Says I follow I-4, from Tampa to Jacksonville."
Yeah.
And he says, "What if it rains or something you can't see it?" He goes, "Well, then we'll have to figure something out." And I says, "Well, thank you, man. I'm not going to go, but thank you. I hope you have a good flight." I just didn't feel like comfortable going with him.
His answer didn't inspire confidence in you,
No, no.
nor did it say he had any sort of plan whatsoever. It's funny you said it. I've had this dream to fly for decades and decades and decades. So I finally pulled the trigger. But I remember over the years, I would hop in planes with people if I had the opportunity. I was in business with a guy years ago, back in the business, who was a pilot socially, and we met one day up in Nashville. We split the cost of a rental for an hour and flew around. And I did that a few times with different people over the years. And now that I'm like taking lessons, I'm learning all this and understand the intricacies. I find it surprising I didn't ask these people any of your questions. Like, so I just got on the plane with them versus like, tell me about, and I ran into a situation recently where someone that I know from a new organization I joined for my job, it's a networking group, is a pilot, and they have a plane, and their plane is actually hangared in the area where my flight school is. So I asked the flight school owner about this person, and he looked like he was put on the spot, and I'm like, listen, this conversation stays right here. I'm very good, I'm just curious because I've been asked to fly with this person. And then he went on to tell me, long story short, his comment was, "This is a dangerous pilot, and I hope they don't hurt themselves."
Wow.
Like, wow. And I said, "Well, I'm not getting into the plane with this person." That's something. But I don't think I would have asked any of these questions until I was in flight school learning how to do this and realize there's a lot to this. But to your point, you can get your certificate and there's all sorts of levels of how good you are as a pilot once you have a certificate. One of the online flight schools I subscribe to out of Florida, as a matter of fact, his tagline is, and it's so true, "A good pilot is always learning." And that's kind of my philosophy for life. Listen, we got to keep learning.
I think I told you about this when I was working at Aero Trader. My sales manager was a pilot, and we went to Palm Springs, California, to AOAP thing. So we were there because I was trying to sell advertising to those people and whatever. The pilots and people were selling things. And he says, "Hey Tony, I'm gonna rent a 150 Cessna 150. You want to go for a ride?" I knew he flew a lot, so I says, "Yeah, sure." He said, "So I'm going to take you over the Salton Sea, which is like a lake just south of Palm Springs."
Wow.
But the lake is salt water, and they call it the Salton Sea or something like that. So he says his father was a pilot during the war, and he was used to fly the. What they used to do is they used to go over this Salton Sea. They learn how to do the dive towards the
Yeah,
lake, and then they wouldn't release a bomb or nothing, but they just went through that thing, right?
right.
We're up there now. He's doing all kinds of stuff. So he says, "Check this out." So he pulled out his cigarette pack and the things, and he put one in the dash of the plane, and then he went up as like straight up as far as he could, and then he went like this,
Yep.
and the cigarette was floating in the air. And he caught it in his mouth. He says, "What are you
And
gonna ask?"
you're in the plane with him while he's doing this?
Yeah, I says, "Yeah, well, that was really cool, but now I'm dizzy, right?" So then he's goes to the Salton Sea, that lake. He's trying to go down as low as he could go. There's some birds out there that ducks or something that started flying. He goes, "Oh shit!" And he pulled it up and he turned it like, I said, "What's going on?" He says, "If one of those ducks hits the propeller, we're done." I said, "Well, get me out of here, man." But then
Bird strike, they call that.
when we came down, we were getting ready to land. He says, "Hey, can you grab that video camera behind your seat?" But I couldn't reach to it, I couldn't reach.
Right.
So he's got the camera holding it like this, and he's flying with one hand, and he lands that way. So I'm like, "What the heck?" I could tell right now that he was a very professional flyer.
Bird strike is dangerous for any kind of plane.
Oh
The
yeah,
the movie Sully that Tom Hanks starred in, Sully Sullenberger, who landed that jet on the Hudson River, that was a bird strike.
wow.
They flew out of LaGuardia, which is right there, and they hit a flock of seagulls.
I
A
mean
little
that,
musical reference, and they hit something and took a jet down,
but that guy, for him to save it like he did, it was amazing.
landing on the water. Not one casualty, not one injury. Amazing. I didn't see that movie. I wonder if interesting. So you were in a 150 with this guy. Since the 150, they don't get smaller than that. You must have been on top of each other. That's a tiny plane.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we're running out of time here pretty soon.
Look at you trying to edit it down to be in on time. That's been my role for like years now. Now you're taking it over. I like it.
Look, the thing just popped up that we're running out of time.
Well,
So if you have
enjoy your
anything,
holiday weekend, and to our listeners and watchers and followers out there, we appreciate you. And don't forget to take a few minutes this weekend to reflect and remember what this weekend's really about.
there's a nice way to end the podcast.
Mm,
You're the best.
outstanding, sir. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. That was perfect on my end. I'm telling you, I was right on the beat.
So when you in June when you come to Florida, you gonna have any free time or not?
I might on that Friday the 9th. I'm flying in at noon on Friday the 9th. And I think I have a couple of one-on-ones, meeting a cup of coffee in Orlando area. And I'm staying at Jim's in Orlando. And then I got to be in a meeting in Orlando at 9:30 Saturday morning until 1. I'm going to go right to the airport. So maybe Friday night is a possibility, depending how
Let me know.
my
I mean,
schedule.
you're gonna go see your son, obviously, right?
No, my son moved from Florida. He's in Colorado right now.
Oh wow.
So he follows the golf business. And so as things are winding down in Florida, heat wise in the golf season, that wrapped up and he goes to Colorado for the summer golf season. So he's in Colorado now until November, 6 months.
So let me know if you have some free time on Friday night. I'll take a drive and go have dinner with you or something.
I would love it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Orlando's an hour and, oh no, well, you're all the way over there. 2 hours for you?
An hour and a half, yeah.
And we'll meet halfway in Lakeland or something.
I told you about the time that I was driving over there, and a police car was going the other way. I was going towards Orlando. He's going towards Tampa. I was going fast. And he
I
flushes the
guess
light.
so.
That little spotlight. They put the spotlight on me. I said, "What's he gonna do?" He's going that way. So I just kept going. But then I looked at the rearview mirror, and he's going over the medium. He's like, "Oh shit, here he comes." So I'm seeing if I can find an exit or something to get out of it, but there's no exit. So he finally got near me. So I pulled over. He says, "Sir, it's 4:55 on Friday afternoon. Today is my anniversary, and I told my wife I'd be home on time to take her for dinner. And I really don't want to do any paperwork right now. If you give me one good